Hello and welcome to another AutoCAD 2007 3D CAD clip, and we're going to talk about the camera tool here on our 3D Navigate control panel on our dashboard. And I've just got some prop objects in here as I usually do. I'm going to switch over to be conceptual view, for instance, and cameras are pretty easy. You just drop them in and look. The thing about a camera is it has a camera height and a target height, and then basically it looks in that direction, and we have clipping planes which we can turn on and off with our cameras. And I usually find that setting myself to a plan view. Oh, I've got a camera in there. I'm going to delete that. And I find, place them in a camera view to start with. So I'm going to go in here and simply say camera. You'll notice that some of these have flyouts too here on the way. Camera. And then it says, okay, specify camera location. And notice that when you place the camera, it always looks back towards 0, 0. You'll notice as I move this around, I'm going to move everything over to there. Okay, now my 0, 0 is here. Watch, when I place my camera, even though I'm going around these objects, okay, it's always trying to look back at 0, 0, which isn't a big problem. Okay, because we can still go over here and place our camera or place it here, and then we place the target. Now you have to be careful because when you use your object snaps, it'll pick up those endpoints and stuff like that. So be cognizant that it is picking up object snaps. So I'm going to just pick a point out here. And then it's going to leave me with some options inside of their clipping planes, etc. And then I'm just going to hit an enter. Now I have that camera on there, and down in here, if I hit this expand button down in here, see some great stuff for recording animations and stuff. I can turn basically camera display on or off. So if I create, a couple of different cameras around here, okay, I can turn those cameras on and off. Then I can click on the camera and it shows me a preview, and I can, have that show or not show in there, and I can also pick my display visual style that I want in there. The other thing is as you place cameras, it's creating views with names. Okay, you can click on a camera and you can check the properties of it. Okay, and it says, okay, this is camera 1. Now notice the camera Z and the target Z. That's why you're always kind of looking down from the ground. So the first thing I usually do with a camera is click on it and I check the properties, and I usually bump up, like maybe I'll take the target Z and I'll put it at 10 units high, and you'll have to know what units are relative. And my camera I'm going to put at maybe 50 units high, which kind of raises it up, and you can see the preview. So I'm going to go back and maybe I'll make that 500 units. You'll see that that angle changes. Okay. Now as I go in here, now I can click on this, and you can see the preview happening in the bird's eye. Well, maybe I want to take that, bring that target there, and then I can work my way around the objects over here. Okay, and you can see that quite nicely. Okay, you can get right inside, and depending on where your target is, depends on what you'll see when you get inside there. Okay, hit it, and then I can even hit escape, do a regen, and then maybe zoom out and then click on here, and depending on how far you're zoomed out or zoomed in, you can have that picture in picture. Okay, you can also click on here again in properties, front clipping plane. You can put clipping right now by default. Notice how this one is going to be called camera. Oh, I have more than one selected. Properties, camera name is camera 3. Okay, clipping on, maybe that one has the front and back clipping planes on. So what happens there is we can click on that camera now, and we can set those clipping planes to be a certain distance away, by adding in some numbers, 500 and 1000. Okay, it'll capture part of that. You can go in and use your calculator as well. So you can add those clipping planes, and a front clipping plane is the front one, and then the back clipping plane is the back clipping plane. You can control those through the properties or with grips if clipping is actually turned on. Most times clipping is turned off, so it's kind of ignored. Okay, we also have some grips over here. Lens length, okay, if you want to narrow the scope of your lens as you're moving that around, okay, with your camera. Okay, notice how this one still has a camera height of 0. Let's change that to be 500 again. Oops. Let's make it 1,000 units high. Okay, now I can move that around, etc. Okay, and those cameras also show up if you look in, these type of views. You can see that camera again. You can kind of move that around, do stuff with it. The square grip actually moves the camera. Okay, these change the lens size by going in and out this way, and then this moves the target, the actual target. So get used to the different grips, and as you change your viewpoints here, you'll be able to see those cameras if they're actually turned on. So of course the idea is to get one of your cameras, and then you can, let's see, if we right click on that, we can say set camera view, and then it'll actually go to that view, and you don't maybe need this guy over here anymore. And when you do that, you can then go in and you can pick on these points again and change those options for that particular camera. As well, if you go into Paperspace, of course, and we make a viewport, okay, inside of here, okay, we can type V for view, and you can say, okay, I want this to be, camera 2, or, I want it to be camera 3, or I want it to be camera 1. Okay, so each viewport can have a different camera view. So we can zoom that down and go in there and do what we want with that. Okay, and then we can maybe copy that viewport around, doesn't matter, in our Paperspace. And then the idea, of course, inside of here is we say, click in here and set that one to be camera 1, and set this one to be camera 2. This one is camera 3, or we can set it to be whatever view we want. Okay, so that's what we can do, and then we can name those cameras accordingly by going back into our Paperspace as long as our cameras are turned on, and select that camera, and then check the properties, the name, X, Y, and Z. Mainly it's the Z's you want to be able to change inside of here. Okay, and then it also, I believe, it looks like it's being relative to the UCS or something inside of here. So try playing with these numbers. A lot of this stuff here is also happens when you change these grips. You'll notice that these numbers in here start to change. It also appears there's a plot button, yes or no, so I would think that it would either be plotting the camera or not plotting the camera, and we'll see some more stuff with animation, etc. in the near future. So there's just a couple of tips on getting cameras in. Pretty straightforward. Pick the camera tool, pick a point, place it, and then have a look maybe at the help menu and set some more options. Basically, I just place it, and then after you set notice your Z, change your Zs, etc. You could also go in here and move the camera just by going into, for instance, let's go to my right hand side view, okay, and I can grab that camera, and I can also move that camera up just by doing that, going into that view. Okay, going back to my 3D view, click in here, so off you go. So put your cameras in and then rename the views, and then take those views and put them in Paperspace and plot them out.